We on?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening, Tigard. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Councilor Liz Newton, and I have Council President John Goodhouse with me. We are really grateful that you're taking time out of your evening to chat with us. Remember, you can submit your questions in the chat box throughout tonight's conversation, so anytime you think of something you'd like to ask us, please use that feature. And you can rewatch all of these Spark conversations on the city's YouTube channel if you have to leave early or want to catch an earlier version. Before we take your questions, we're going to give you a couple of updates on some ongoing current projects that we're working on. You may have heard that the City Council has named 3 finalists for the position of City Manager. Kathy Nyland, Joe Gall, and Steve Reimer are the 3 individuals that are moving forward in the process. We would like to hear from the community on this important position. So on December 30th, Mayor Snyder will be conducting interviews with each of the 3 finalists, and those interviews will be recorded, posted on our city's website and social media platforms, so you'll be able to take a look at those and use a form to provide your feedback. Before we conduct those interviews, though, we would like to have you give your thoughts on questions that the mayor might ask. So before December 23rd, if you have any questions, please go online and submit those to the mayor for his consideration. John?
And then next part, the City of Tigard did introduce our 5th round of Tigard Cares funding. We launched that last week. We had over 225 applications submitted for almost $1 million of federal funding. So we'll be handing those out, I think, in the next week or two, couple of weeks. If anyone is watching and did start submitting an application, had any problems, you can still go ahead and email the city to be considered for that. I know there were some businesses that did have a problem getting through there or wasn't sure how to answer a question. So if you did miss that, you can still jump in. And along with that, Tigard Cares is the City of Tigard does have our aid program. And if you go to the city's website, you can either get help with your utility bill for businesses or for residents. If you're a business and you get your bill directly, you could get up to a $500 credit. Additionally, if you don't get the bill directly and your landlord does, you can still qualify for it. You can reach out to our utility team. And with residents, you can get credit on your utility bill for I believe the full amount. And if you're an apartment dweller and you don't get the utility bill directly, call into our utility program and they'll be able to give you a credit to you to help out each month as well. And that program does go through the end of June of 2021. And so it also works if you're in arrears. But please pass that word out to people. There's a lot of residents, businesses that are affected right now by the COVID, lack of work or lack of income. And that's a great resource to help people out during these times.
Great. And another project that we're working on is the Universal Plaza. And I don't know if you're like me, but I go by there a couple of times a week just to check out what's going on. I went by there purposely the other night to see the twinkling trees. And I checked out the benches earlier. About a month ago, we had the movable benches. So there's the musical benches. There's a lot of interesting features there now. So please take a look. Let us know what you think. And if you'd like to be a design advisor, I think there's still opportunity for you to do that. So learn more at our Engage Tigard Universal Plaza, or visit the downtown and just look at it for yourself. It's really great and it changes all the time. So make it a regular stop as you travel through Tigard. The other thing that we wanted to point out is the Fennel Creek Trail. We've got 4 sections remaining in that trail on that trail in Tigard, and we're looking for the best route from Bonita Road to the Tualatin River, and so we would like your input on that as well. So go to the Engage Tigard site and you'll find a place where you can enter your comments about what you think about the different routes we're considering and which you think would be the best.
And additionally, with this time of year, a lot of people are looking for activities to do. Downtown Tigard has a lot. Councilor Newton mentioned that the Universal Plaza has the twinkly trees. That's a great thing to look at. Main Street also, there was a handful of business owners that got together and lit up all the trees on Main Street, so that's a great way to go through there, take a look at that. But also the Downtown Tigard Business Alliance, or Explore Downtown Tigard, has a bingo card going on right now. So you can go to all the businesses, You can get your business bingo card filled out, either get a traditional bingo or blackout, and you can go ahead and submit that at the end of the month to get prizes. But it's a great way to shop local, visit all the businesses. I know that there's some of them that are doing takeout, some of them outdoor dining. I know some of them are doing on the sidewalk or getting things you can buy and so forth. You can go down there, walk around, look at the trees, shop local. And additionally, if people are looking for any kind of Christmas lights, we do have in Tigard a Christmas light path or route that you can either walk or drive through. I think you can go to Primo Expresso and get a ticket for a coffee or cocoa in the future. But Kent Wyatt can go ahead and post a link in the comments as far as what that route looks like to either walk or drive through. As I did it over the weekend with the family. Great lights, nice little course. I think if you walked it might take 45 minutes to an hour. But there's a lot of activities to get out there, but make sure to shop local, support our local businesses, get gift cards, and help everyone out.
Yeah, I did the lights too this weekend. They were great. And my route to City Hall this evening, it always takes me on Main Street, and I was really pleased. There were a lot of people down there walking around downtown at 6 o'clock tonight, so it was great. So, Kent, is this our first question?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Mr. Wyatt. The first question we have is, what's the budget outlook for next year, the impact of COVID? Well, we're going to be having a meeting with the Budget Committee in January, early January, so that's generally a time we look at our estimates and our projections for what our budget's looking like. At this point, we don't have any major concerns. We do have some concerns about the long-term impact of COVID. As Council President Goodhouse mentioned, we do have some funding. We're making some funding available for assistance to business and residents, and that's really important to the council. And so we'll probably be weighing those assistance programs with what we hear the impact is on businesses and residents as we get through this, the economic impacts of COVID. And I guess the message I'd like to send our residents before Council President Goodhouse says what he thinks about this is, I want to assure the community that we are mindful of how businesses and residences are being impacted as we make our way through this. And so we talk about it a lot, and we are paying attention, and so we appreciate your patience as we navigate through this, but I want to assure you that we are concerned about impacts on businesses and residents who may be unemployed or underemployed due to COVID. So,
and additionally on that note, the main parts of our budget that are being affected are the gas tax and also the transit lodging taxing. That's what we get money from the hotel stays. So with travel being down and not as many people driving, the parts of the budget that will be impacted will be less gas tax and less the TLT tax coming in. As Councilor Newton said, we'll be discussing next year, start looking at it. I know staff right now, all the departments are putting together their budgets and they're working on that, so we won't know later on until what those are going to look like and what impact the gas tax and the tax on the hotels or what else might come up. The biggest push we're doing as some elected officials in the city, state, and so forth is ask our federal representatives to pass a funding measure to give funding to cities. There was some money was done before, but was gone to the state, and a lot of cities really need that money where we're either trying to help out or we have still resources we need to take care of. So I know that a lot of electeds and people throughout the state have sent message to our federal representatives. So if anyone does have resources or ability to do that, do ask our federal representatives to please pass funding for the cities, because the cities are one of the most affected by this, and we're having to still provide our services even though we have loss of revenue. Going forward, we may see with property taxes, with properties maybe become vacant or homes, we might see a change in our property tax as well. So I think it's too early to see. I know property taxes just went out in November, so we'll have to still see in a couple of months how property taxes have changed or haven't changed.
Have impacted that. Okay, the next question is, can you recap what happened at the Public Safety Advisory Board? I'll take that one. I'm honored to be the council's representative on the Public Safety Advisory Board. We had a really good meeting on Monday night. You can review that on the city's YouTube channel. You can replay the entire meeting. I thought what was good was we had a lot of input on how we're going to move forward as a group, and I thought the highlight was that the board members are interested in people on the board individually taking the lead for different meetings. And so I thought it was really great that everybody on the board seems really invested in moving forward on the conversations that we're going to be having around public safety. And so everybody's really enthused and excited to be a part of the group. And so we're going to start we're going to be meeting every other week for now, and we're going to start looking at different issues right away. The police department will be providing information on how they train to certain things, which will help the group look at any recommendations for policy changes they want to recommend to the council. I told them that as a city councilor, I am really interested in advocating for the group to the council the recommendations that we want to move forward. So I would encourage you to watch the meeting. I was really touched by how forthcoming everybody in the group was, and again, I think everybody's really excited for the conversation to be happening and to see what kind of recommendations we can make to keep Tigard and make Tigard the safest community for everybody that we can. So anyway, stay tuned. It's a really great group. So.
I agree, and I want to point out too that all of our committees and council meetings are all available to either watch live online or you can access any of those. So if you ever missed the Public Safety Advisory Board, you can go ahead and watch that. Or if you miss any of our committees, we have about almost a dozen different committees, whether or not to be on transportation or the Town Center Alliance or parks or any of those areas. They're all available on our website to go ahead and review and take a look at those as well. As with our council meetings, the work sessions are all available to watch as well.
The next question, what's the background of Councilor-elect Shaw and when does she take office? Councilor-elect Shaw's term technically starts January 1st, 2021, and it's for a 4-year term. She'll be sworn in, I believe it's January 5th, the first meeting of the year. And on the council's website, or the city's website, under the council page, there is a Meet the Council section. And I've had some great conversations with Councilor-elect Shaw, but I just pulled it up to remind me the name of the group, the nonprofit that she works for. She's a senior director of policy and a member of Force leadership team. It's a public policy and regulatory affairs group in the Pacific Northwest, and at the federal level she advocates for that. It's a local nonprofit that advocates electric, smart, and shared mobility. And I was talking to her recently, and she's got an extensive background in the wine industry, and she's just got an interesting background and a lot of expertise in technology and management. So she's really going to be a great addition to the council. She lives in the south part of Tigard, and she serves on the Oregon Solutions Transportation and Electric Vehicle Collaborative, the State of Oregon Career Technical Education Advisory Commission, and was a founding member of the STEAM East Multnomah County Partnership. So she's going to bring a great perspective to the council. And sorry I basically read that, but check online. There's a good bio of Councilor-elect Shaw.
Yeah, and Councilor-elect Shaw also has a lot of experience working with legislators at the state and federal level as well. Yeah. She's had years and years experience of that, being a legislative aide and working with them, and knows a lot about the policy making and the aspects, and whether it be from city, state, and federal level. So she also can hit the ground running with a lot of that institutional knowledge.
Yeah, I'm excited. She's going to be a great addition to the council. Okay, are there any new parks coming online? And it says Dairydale Neighborhood. We did just accept a donation of some park land. It'll be adjacent to the current Bagan Park, which is over on Greenberg and Shady Lane. And so that's the newest addition to our parks inventory. Can you think of anything else?
I can't think of anything else newer now.
That's it for now. So that's an area that's not going to be necessarily an active park, but we'll be continuing a trail section there, and it'll be a good resource for people that live in that neighborhood who are currently underserved by
Yeah.
parks, so.
And speaking of parks, before we went live, both Councilor Newton and Kent White was saying, I guess in, was it Money Magazine or something, we were the 5th best place in the nation for dogs.
Yep.
So if you're a dog owner, we're the
Number 5.
number 5 in the United States, best place with our dog parks and resources and everything like that. I haven't read the article, so but maybe Kent will have to post a link there to us being the number 5 best dog city in the United States.
And aren't we the best in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. White?
On the West Coast.
On the West Coast,
Period.
yeah,
So, yes.
let's claim what we can
Yes,
here, yeah.
let's do that.
So I guess
Best
with
on the
that,
West
with us being the most walkable city in the Northwest, being our goal, I guess our dogs have been voting on that one and like it.
Right, yeah, some of you dog owners that voted multiple times, thank you very much. Okay, from the Tigard Youth Advisory Council, how will you set goals for 2021 and can we provide input? Generally, the council has a goal-setting session in the first part of the year, often it's in January. And usually, and I don't know why we wouldn't continue this practice, we ask all of our boards and committees for input to the council goals. And so I imagine we will be getting out to boards and committees with the Youth Advisory Council as one of our advisory boards soon to get their feedback on upcoming goals. We will be looking at meshing goals with our strategic plan, so I encourage you to take a look at that, and if you have suggestions, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, and council mail, which is an email address that goes to all the city council, the mayor, city manager, assistant city manager, is always a great way too to communicate with the council, or if you guys have any input of where you'd like to see the direction of the city for the next 2 years. We always love to have feedback on what people are thinking, where they like to see the direction of the city going. We have a lot going on in the city, so there's a lot to work on already, but we're always open to hear what people like to hear and see.
And a lot of it is, to follow up on that, Council President Goodhouse, is helping us refine where we really want to focus, because there's a lot going on, but the council often will take a program that we're already working on, and as part of our goal process, really focus on it. And so when we hear from the community members that it's really important to the community, we'll take a hard look and try to focus in more on the direction we want to take a particular program or project. So we appreciate hearing from you.
And we usually try to make them realistic goals too. We usually try to make them something that can be accomplished in that year or two.
A couple of years.
Very rarely do we go past that time, so it's usually goals too that we know we can accomplish, we can get, and that staff has enough time to focus on and do.
That we have the resources for, yeah. Are SROs coming back to the schools? Thank you for that question. We had a joint council, well, it was the Tualatin City Council, Tigard City Council, and the school board, Tigard Tualatin School Board meeting on November 30th. And at the conclusion of that meeting, there's going to be a committee brought together to look at changing the program. So the recommendation was that the SROs remain in the schools, but with alterations to the program. And so they're going to be meeting to look at the changes that they'd like to recommend to the board that they make. And I believe April is when they're going to be coming back with a decision. I believe it's April. So
yeah, and part of the conversation that came up really through the whole process, it was a couple-month process of really a lot of feedback from the community, surveys,
right.
Different stakeholders having conversations and meeting with people from the public. And really the biggest part that came up from the conversation was there wasn't really a defined role between the police department, the school district, and also not really a clear understanding from the students and the parents of what the role was. There was a lot of confusion of when actually a SRO stepped in and handled something, as opposed to when maybe a security guard did, as opposed to when the school district. So really what they're going to sit down is to come up with a clear defined plan and understanding. So the police department, the school district, the parents, and the students all have a clear understanding of what roles that the SROs do and what they don't. So there's a little bit more understanding, because I think before there was a lot of confusion of what did and what didn't happen, and this will be great for all parties involved to really have a clear understanding and knowledge of what roles it is and what it is and what people want to see from the SRO officers. And
really looking at the student input and how those SROs or can they modify the program to be really a true resource, the school resource officers to those students. Okay, who patrols 124th between 99 and 12th and Sherwood? It's like driving on a racetrack. That's not in Tigard. 124th, is it in the city of Tualatin or in Washington County? Because it's that road that when you're going down 99, there's that 3-story building where my tax accountant is. You take a left and you can connect to 12th and Sherwood Road a ways down. So that's not in Tigard, and I'm not sure if it's in the city of Tualatin or not. I believe so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'd have to take I'm not sure offhand either. I know that we do have, and I think that's a little ways from that, but when we do have 99W in Durham, we do have the red light cameras with the speed enforcement in there. We do have a link on our website as far as a new way to report instances or crimes or so forth. So if there is a lot of drag racing and speeding like that, you can go onto our site, and there is an option to drop a pin, kind of a GIS, kind of a location of GPS. So you can go on there, report it, and it's something I'm sure that if it's outside of our area, it's something that either will be dispatched or done to another jurisdiction. But that's a great way to, rather than calling in non-emergency or 911, is to jump on that website and go ahead and post a link there as far as how you can report that. And not only does that work for speeding and so forth, but if it's a illegally parked car in your neighborhood, you see a pothole, you see any kind of things in there, rather than having to find out who does, you can actually go in there, actually submit photos as well. So it's a great resource beyond reporting crimes or anything like that as well. But please do that, because I have heard from many people there's different spots in 99W. I've also heard around the McDonald and 99W area around Walgreens and so forth that there's been a lot of people speeding. So if we can get more reports of that in and seeing what's happening, then we can get out there and enforce it more.
Yeah, that's really, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, are we seeing changes in people moving in, out of Tigard or Portland metro area as a result of pandemic or economy? I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know that you have. You're a little bit more involved with the business community than I am. The census numbers, the preliminary census numbers that we got didn't look, the numbers haven't gone down in Tigard, and so I just haven't heard that there's been that dramatic of an impact. I don't know that people are necessarily wanting to move at this point, and if they don't have something to go to. I think we are focused more on businesses and the fact that some of our businesses are looking at having to close, and so, but I haven't heard anything about residents. What about you? Have you heard anything about that?
Not too much on residents. I have heard with businesses that due to Portland or downtown Portland that there has been businesses moving out. There has been conversations with Washington Square, other areas where businesses are looking to either come out to Tigard or Beaverton or go further out. There was a little bit of talk of that before the pandemic as well, just because of traffic and everything like that. Also, with some of the what's been going on in downtown Portland, we have seen an increase in homeless. I was talking with a couple different nonprofits, and I asked them why are we seeing more homeless people in Tigard, and that's just due to a lot of what's been had been going on in downtown Portland. We had a lot of the homeless people or population move outward and go into the outward communities. So I've seen that as well. But there's also, I know there's been a lot of displacement with the pandemic. So there's been a lot more homeless people. So the nonprofits we have in the area, Just Compassion, Good Neighbor Center, Family Promise, everyone like that has been working in overdrive, really trying to help out these families that either have been had to leave their place where they live or can't afford something or need a place to live. So there's been more on that residential part. But as far as people moving here, we are expanding. We are building more homes. So if anything, I think we have more people coming to Tigard. There's a whole area out there off of Roy Rogers Road, River Terrace. We have that whole area out there that's still growing, a lot of construction going on. In the next couple of years, we'll see more growth out there. And there is a parkland that has been purchased, but it's not developed, but off of Roy Rogers Road and kind of where Beef Bandit Road is. On the other side, there is going to be a park, the Lasich property is going to be a park that will be developed in the next couple of years out there. So if anything, we have a lot more growth coming out in that area. Along with, we do have around the Washington Square area, there's going to be a lot more growth in that way. There might be more density living. Along with, we have in downtown Tigard, across from Max's Fountain Creek Pub, or next to where Senate is, where the Fountain Creek goes under the main street. We do have a 4-story building for Ava Roasteries. It's going to be built with commercial there on the bottom. We'll have employment offices and then living on the top. So there's going to be actually more living in apartments and high density coming into downtown Tigard.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We've got another question about red light and speeding cameras on 99 creating significant violations. What is the estimated net profit of these? First of all, I'd like to point out that the number of citations that we're issuing has gone down dramatically, which is sort of what we hoped for. The reason that we put those cameras in place was really to get, those are high accident intersections, and was really to get people aware of the red light and speeding, which is, we want reductions in that. And so in November, I'm looking at Southwest Hall, I'm looking at the Chief's report right now. We issued 87 tickets for red light and 177 for speeds, and we were up in the 2000s when we first started this. So the tickets, the citations have decreased dramatically, which means people are aware of the cameras, and they're honoring the red light and the speeds through there. So that's really was really the point behind it. And in terms of the estimated net profit of these, I don't know, and I don't know if you know. So what I'd like to do is ask Mr. Wyatt to forward that on to the appropriate staff people, and maybe we could have the police department write a little paragraph for their website that explains the the revenue that we're getting, and essentially the point that really the idea is not the revenue, but it's to get compliance for honoring speed and traffic signals there.
Yeah, and on that note too, the contract we do have with a third-party vendor that does provide the equipment and initially capturing the violation, we pay a flat fee every month for that. So that was part of the things we took a look at. There's different contracts you can do where you can do it per citation, or you can change it, and we decided as a city to go with a flat fee. That way, as Councilor Newton said, we are focused more on the safety and the speeding. By that way, whether or not we made a lot more or a lot less, whether or not there's a lot more violations being brought in, no matter what, we had that flat fee, and it was a focus on safety and speeding. I think the biggest part really is that speeding where it's 11 miles over the speed limit is to make sure that that people aren't going through there quickly. There's the intersection up there by Fred Meyer's, 72nd and 99W, and then Durham, 99W. There's been a lot of instances where people are really going fast through those areas. And then also running those lights, and so there's been a big change, and everyone's kind of getting more used to it and know. So now it's probably a lot more people that are driving through that might head out to wine country or passing through. Yeah. So if the first part is to get really the residents to know and fix it, and now you're to try to helpfully stop people that come through the area.
Right, because we really want to see a reduction in accidents at those intersections. Any initiatives to support local businesses during the holiday season? Well, as you know, we have our Shop Tigard initiative, and I'm looking at Mr. Wyatt. Do we still have the cards, the prizes you can get if you get the? Okay, so what we have is a program where if you shop at some of the list of participating businesses, which is on our website, you can be entered to win a prize, and it's usually, I'm looking at Mr. Wyatt to nod, it's $20. A gift card. Yeah, it's a gift card, and so you can get information on our website about the participating businesses, and we're really trying to do what we can to encourage people to shop local, whether it's gifts or takeout. I try to do takeout at least twice a week, and I'm trying to do my holiday shopping locally as much as possible. And any kind of services I need, I'm trying to use Tigard businesses. So I don't know if you have anything to add.
There's with Explore Downtown Tigard, we might put the link in there already, we can reattach it again, but Explore Downtown Tigard, a lot of the businesses on Main Street are doing a bingo card. You can go down there, you support the businesses, you fill out the bingo card, and then you can win, be entered in to win drawings or gift cards. So it's a great activity to be able to go visit the different businesses. Some of it's just going in and doing a post on Instagram. Some of it might be buying an item, might be just liking their page. So a lot of it can be done without having to spend money at that business. And I know there's different businesses as well that if you shop there, you can get a gift card at another location. So there's been a lot of those activities going on there. As far as Washington Square, I think they're doing a virtual talk with Santa. I know that there's been a link where Mrs. Claus has been reading books, so you can get on there. But if you go to Washington Square, you can actually from a distance talk to Santa over an iPad or do pictures as well. So there's still a lot of activities going on and ways to support the local businesses. As always, we always encourage people, if you can buy gift cards from these businesses, especially right now during the freeze, issued by the governor, where they're not able to open its fully capacity. It's a great way to keep some of these businesses going right now, where if you can get some gift cards, give those for Christmas, and then hopefully in the new year, some of the numbers for COVID will go down and these businesses can be up a little more and they can redeem those. So those are always a great way to get those and drop on in. And a lot of businesses still are doing great ways. Either you can do curbside pickup, DoorDash, any of those ways too. For people that want to leave their house, there's great ways to still order food from the different businesses.
Yeah. Yeah, so as much as you can, shop local. What is the council looking for when hiring a city manager? Do you want to take a stab at that first? I'm looking something up with regard to that.
Okay, with looking for the council, I mean, it's what we really want to do is we want to hear feedback from all of our stakeholders. We want to hear from community members. We want to hear from our staff. We want to hear from our committees. We want to talk to different agencies that a city manager would work with. Anywhere from other cities to Metro, TriMet, the state, ODOT, everything like that. We're really looking for a city manager that engages our community, that's open, got an open door policy, but also knows really a lot of analytics within the city and knows the different departments. It's got the experience working in government and managing a city our size. But really the biggest part, we've been used to having great city managers that are great with communicating with the public, being accessible. So we want someone that's accessible, but also going to do, be able to handle all the different areas. We have our own water source. We have 2 urban node districts in the Tigard Triangle and downtown Tigard. So someone that can really oversee all those areas. In the area, we really have a lot going on compared to the other cities.
Right. And, we're looking for somebody who prioritizes community engagement. We're looking for somebody who is innovative, can be creative, is mindful of the balance between the resources that we have and trying to accomplish the goals that we as a community have in place. And so we're looking for that. Somebody who can be creative with financing the programs and services that we deliver, and also I guess I would especially say somebody who is mindful of our interests and our need to make sure that we offer our services equitably to all our community. So somebody who understands our priority and our emphasis now on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and making sure that all of our services are distributed equitably. So it's been a great process. We reviewed several applications, and as we said at the beginning, we're down to 3 finalists. Excited about the next step, and so stay tuned, and please keep an eye on our website. Mr. Wyatt's group does a great job with social media, letting you all know when those opportunities will be available. And again, any questions you have that you'd like the mayor to consider for his interviews of these candidates, please get them to us by December 23rd, which is coming up.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for Mr. Shepherd saying we're giving great answers. Ask away. Ask some more questions. Where are we, Mr.
There was a follow-up on the discussion about people moving in and out of Tigard Portland because of the pandemic, and there was a comment about Mark Pearl said some businesses just don't have any choice but to do that because of the economy.
Yes. It's unfortunate. The comment was some businesses just don't have a choice due to the economy, and quite frankly, it breaks the council's heart every time we hear that a business is struggling and contacts us and says, I've got a month and then I might have to close. I want to give kudos to Council President Goodhouse right now for stepping up and doing what he could to assist Tigard Bowl. Council President Goodhouse is very involved with the League of Oregon Cities, and he did a lot to advocate for getting the governor's office and the Oregon Health Authority and everyone to work together to find some metrics and some restrictions, some rules, I guess, around those types of businesses, and got them to reopen. I think they're closed again. But,
Yeah, they're open
but
for a couple
anyway,
weeks.
but you know, that's just an example of Council President Goodhouse was in the lead there, but we are doing what we can, and any business that is in struggles is one business too many for us. We want to do what we can to help our businesses, and also any resident that is getting close to losing their housing, that's one resident too many. So we take it very seriously.
And we did at last Tuesday night's meeting. We had a couple different non-agenda items we brought up, and we had a discussion brought up taking a look with fitness gyms and fitness related, which would in a sense be like ice skating rinks and bowling alleys, to send a letter to the governor's office to ask about the data, because a lot of these we have the hospitality which are open, they can do the outdoor seating, but you get fitness and fitness related areas that can't be open, but there's no data as far as saying that there's any cases or any reasons why. So we're asking to say either please provide us with the data why these can't be open, but if there isn't any data, then please go ahead and open these ones so they can at least be open in some sense. You get gyms that are completely closed, you get bowling alleys, ice rinks that are completely closed right now, but they still have to either pay their employees, they still have to pay their rent, their heat, open them with maybe similar and put restrictions in place. I mean, that the business owners are fine. You can put all the restrictions in place, but at least have them be open. And then Councilor Lube did also make a proposal too for a non-agenda item for us to send a letter to the governor's office to extend the eviction moratorium on both businesses and on residential. And we did do a tag on to that as well, saying that please also provide funding for property owners, for residential property owners, or for business commercial business owners as well, to give them support, because if you put in place a non-eviction order, then they still have to be able to pay their rent or their mortgage. So we did do two different that. So we're trying as a council to do what we can to have people to be able to stay in their buildings, give assistance, but also try what we can do to advocate for our businesses to be open, because we know how hard this is, and how you only have so much savings, you can only last so long before you go out of business.
Something has to happen. The next question, and I'm going to let Council President Goodhouse answer this because he works so hard on it, is the city seeking other federal funds to assist with COVID support or from the state?
So through the League of Oregon Cities and the National League of Cities, we've really been working with on the federal level to get cities and funding for states and for cities. There was money that was passed, but I think on the federal level there's not really the realization of how hard cities are being hit or how they will be. And so we're trying to do what we can with cutbacks, but with cities we have to provide services, and if the money's not there, we still have to figure out how to provide those. So there has been a lot of movement with local officials from cities, state level and the federal level, to get additional funds to the cities, and also get additional funds that we can pass on to those businesses and help. And that's where we've tried to do everything we can to either, as mentioned before, help the residents or businesses with their utility bill. Residents and business owners can get a utility credit. We're trying to do that, but we're trying to get what we can for additional funds from the state and help.
Okay. Can Tiger get the lead out of the water? I hate that the warnings have been on the water reports for a few years. Just curious. Okay, well, first of all, we're required to put information in our annual water quality report by I think it's the EPA. It's a federal requirement. So we need to indicate to folks we need to report on lead in the water. Usually, if there's in our water report we talk about lead and maybe running water to make sure that there's not lead in your water. But it's due to the pipes. It's not the water itself or the source. There can be lead from old. I think it's how the pipes were put together. I can't remember exactly the material they used, but it's old pipes in providing water to homes. And so we do test the water pipes, and there are certain areas in Tigard, not very many, but there are certain areas that we continue to test because they may or may not have elevated lead levels in the water. In Tigard, we're fortunate. There aren't too many areas like that, and it's not really that dramatic. And so, again, we are required to put that in our water quality report, and so we take it seriously. We test for it, and it really isn't that much of a problem in Tigard. I don't know if you have anything to say.
Yeah, I'd be curious of what area this resident is for the water. I know that about 3 years ago, we switched over to our own water source. We did have our water we were getting from Bull Run through Portland. Now we have the Lake Oswego Tigard Water Partnership, and we have we have a state-of-the-art water treatment plant, probably one of the best in the nation. And usually when that went online, usually takes years and years to get more of a clean bill as far as all the levels are low. Ours were so low that I think within the first year we got it okay that our water was great, clean, and everything like that.
Right.
So it would be interesting to know what area the lead. I know sometimes from when we've talked to staff that sometimes it can be the pipes going from the street to the house, or it could be in the house, which is something the city doesn't maintain. So if it's an area where we have it, it would be nice to know which area that is so we can address that. But I know that some of the problems we've had when we've gone out, it's been the homeowners' pipes.
It's generally the plumbing.
It's the plumbing in the home. Source. So if there's a different situation on that, would be no. But our staff has been great at putting reports out, and since we've gone to our own water source, we haven't had to issue any boil alerts. Because we do a great job of keeping track of the water coming from the Clackamas River. The water, for people, the water does come from the Clackamas River out there in Milwaukee. It goes into West Lynn where our treatment plant is, and then it comes in to Tigard, and then that's where I get our water source.
Right. So again, just for clarification, it's the pipes, not the source usually.
Yeah.
So. Okay, thanks for that. Councilor Goodhouse has been great. High fiving, Councilor Goodhouse. And does Tigard still have a nuisance compliance person? I have a neighbor that hasn't mowed their lawn since 1988. Yikes! I'd be contacting the city if that was my neighbor. We do have a process, and we do have somebody who will look into the nuisance complaints. It depends a little bit on what it is. If it's a building issue or a planning issue, it might be handled a little bit differently. But we do have a process, and so I encourage you to go online and find that section of our website and go ahead and file that. I've done it myself before, in between being on staff and being on council, and it wasn't hard to do. So go ahead and take advantage of that, and I would encourage you, because 1988, boy, that lawn must be long.
Yes. Yeah, and as Councilor Newton said, that link you can go to, we've kind of tried to make it all one source, where if there's a nuisance with a neighbor that's got like the lawn that's really high, car parked, speeding, you see anything, it should be able to handle anything, whether it be from a pothole, whether it be nuisance. So anything you're wondering, how do I file this, how do I get this complaint, you can go on there and there should be a pull down, and if it isn't on the list, there should be a spot that says other.
Right.
So that's just kind of a catch-all. Anything you want to give feedback or see, if you see a street light out, if you see a hole in the sidewalk,
I
you
call
see anything.
them rocks in your shoe.
Yes. So anything you do, at least send it there, and a staff member will get back to you.
Right.
So don't worry about if it's too big or too small. Report it, and it'll get filtered to the right location.
Are you all going to run again in 2022? Well, geez, ask me in 2022, right? It's only 2020. And I think you're term limited, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's too early.
It's too early to see what's going to happen, or what are going to do in 2022.
Fortunately, at this level, we don't have to start campaigning 2 years ahead like they do at the federal level.
But I do got to clarify, are we talking about running for office, or talking about running like marathons?
Oh, there you go. And I've never run a marathon.
So right now, with a lot of marathons on hold, I'm not able to do that right now. But
it's up.
And I encourage anyone that does see that or have those questions, if you're on social media, share that, or share it on Nextdoor. Nextdoor's been a great resource. I see a lot of times when you log in the Nextdoor, people have might have a complaint or see something or see a nuisance. And share those on Nextdoor, so that way people have a resource to go ahead and do it. Even if you're, I've heard of people talking about, people parking too long in a spot downtown Tigard or anything like that. We do have parking enforcement downtown, so we're trying to work a little bit better downtown Tigard to make sure that cars don't park there too long so people can get down there and frequent the businesses.
Okay. Do either of you have New Year's resolutions? Well, that was one of the questions that Mr. Wyatt asked us for our latest get-to-know council. And when I was younger and did a miserable job of keeping New Year's resolutions, I kind of quit doing it. But I did decide the resolution I submitted this year was, in a world where all things are possible, I'm going to be kind. So that's my New Year's resolution. Be kind.
Mine's to get out and run more. Try to get out there and exercise.
Be fit. Be healthy.
Try to be
yeah.
fit. Try to take care of myself.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Anyway. So, any other questions there, Mr. Wyatt?
That's what we have for right now.
Okay.
Let's see.
So, it's 7:15. We don't necessarily need to go all the way till 7:30. So we're going to take a few minutes here and see what else we want to bring to your attention. We are doing a Tiger Thanks campaign, so we're encouraging folks to go on and let us know what you're thankful for, and if you get selected or
Everyone does.
yeah, then you get a mask, right?
Yep.
Oh.
Being modeled by Council President Goodhouse. So
Not the hat though.
yeah, not the hat, just the mask. So we encourage you. We're getting a lot of good feedback there. So encourage you to go on and take advantage of that. Also, on our Tigard Engage page, there's a lot going on in Tigard. A lot of things that you can give us your feedback on. So would encourage you to take a look at our Tigard Engage page. There's information about our River Terrace neighborhood. There's the transportation plan we're working on. As we noted earlier, the Fennel Creek Trail. So a lot of things that you can learn about and give us your feedback on, because we're always interested in hearing what you think. So.
And I know last month the conversation was Councilor Anderson and myself, and there were people asking about nonprofits to donate or help out, and I think we have a link on our city page, Kent.
Yep.
He can share that. So if people are looking at any nonprofits to help out with in the area, whether it's donations or need or furniture or help like that, we have a lot of those. So right now is the time when it's cold and rainy and people may not have a place to live or shelter. We have a lot of different organizations. There's a Packed with Pride that does give meal boxes out to residents once a week. So we have a lot of great resources for if people are looking to donate or help out or even volunteer. That's a great way to jump on there. I repeat, just we have great Christmas lights downtown Tigard. We do have the Christmas tree that's there in Liberty Park on Main Street in 99W. It's got a facelift, so it's got new lights on there. So if people haven't seen that, we got brand new lights on there as well. Main Street's got a lot of lights to take a look at. We have the route for Christmas lights if people want to walk or drive it.
That's on the Tigard Walks web page on the city's webpage. We have another question. Light rail, is it still coming to Tigard? What about better service from TriMet? And you've been involved in the Southwest Corridor meetings a little bit, so I'm going to let you take the first.
So right now with this light rail, that was really depending on the vote back in November with the Get Moving 2020, the infrastructure or that mixture that would have funded the light rail project. There was going to be about $950 million from that measure that would have supported it. Since that measure failed, right now they're working on wrapping up the environmental draft statement or summary, and then it's basically being put on pause for light rail right now. So it's being put on hold. And whether or not Metro puts another bond measure out next November, whether or not federal funding comes through to fund that. But right now it's on pause. There's no real direction going forward. And with service for TriMet, we're going to have to look and see what happens, because we're building out areas like the Tiger Triangle, which is there by Costco and Walmart and all those. There was areas that were supposed to be set aside for stations. So going forward, as part of planning, we might have to look at maybe some better bus routes, maybe some turnouts for buses to go there. We definitely need more service. So with that not going through, we're going to be having discussions in the upcoming year of TriMet to make sure we have service that line was going to provide for us, and make sure we have proper service.
Right.
And we're always looking for feedback. If you have an area that you feel that you need to use or you don't have the best service, please write into us, because that's if you write into the council email, the mayor will reply back, but that gives us that extra ammunition when we go talk to TriMet and saying, hey, our residents really are saying this is an area that they need to use, or this is an area that doesn't have enough service, or, the hours aren't right, maybe I can get into work, but I can't get home because it doesn't run by my house. So please give us feedback if you see areas where you feel like that Tigard needs better transit.
Yeah, and we have asked our staff to come back to the council in the early part of 2021 to talk with us about how trying to continue our planning for Tiger Triangle and the downtown. We don't want to preclude light rail if someday it happens, but we also are interested in making sure that we're, as you mentioned, that we are accommodating different types of, mass transit or other kinds of transit. So we'll be getting a report from our staff on how we can move forward with the light rail being on hold, so that'll be important. What will be in Universal Plaza? When will it happen? Seems like there's plenty of land for different features. Yes, there is plenty of land for different features, and so one of the exciting things about Universal Plaza is you all get to help us finalize what will be in Universal Plaza. We mentioned earlier, you can be a design advisor. Anybody can do that. Just go on to the Universal Plaza web page and you can sign up for that. That's why we're testing different things like the seating that we put there. I mean, there's lots of ideas for places, maybe accommodating some food carts, a splash pad. I think there's going to be a feature of a splash pad there because that's a very popular idea. That's probably the most popular. We're looking at some way to accommodate perhaps winter markets, so some sort of a structure that doesn't take up the whole site, but where we would be able to do things like that. Farmers market, so lots of ideas. The exciting thing about how we're trying to get ideas from folks in the community is the firm that we're using, the design firm, is going to be moving through a process where they're adding different features, letting the community go down and check it out, like those movable seats, the musical benches. So stay tuned. And we really are looking for feedback from the community, so please take advantage of the opportunities that you're going to have to weigh in, that you like something, you don't like something, you want more of this, you think this is important. And so we are looking at, I think it's 2021 where we're looking at, 2022, where we're going to be looking at most of the construction happening down there.
Yeah.
So this next year is kind of getting all the plans in place, and then I think it's 2022 when we really launch.
We're going to try to take as Councilor Newton said, we're going to try to take a year of really to see what engagement works in the area. But one of the biggest thing we've heard as a council in the city that people want a splash pad there. So so that's going to be a definite. Will be in there.
Yeah.
But then the other ways what people see, whether a venue for concerts or food carts or farmers market. There'll be all kinds of things, but there's also a live a camera feed on that too, where you can go to the city's website. So if you don't want to go venture out or you're at home, you can actually jump on there as well and see really how it changes. Where there's, like Councilor Newton said, there's the musical bench you sit on. There's different seats. There's the 3 big twinkly trees that are out there. There's haikus that are being every night that are being shined onto the wall of the building next door. So we're really looking for the community feedback because we want to make sure that we spent years trying to figure out what spot we could use for downtown Tigard to have at Universal Plaza, and this is kind of our one big shot for a big location. We're going to have a lot of other little smaller areas. We have Rotary Plaza that's next to Symposium and on the Heritage Trail. We're going to next to Max's Fennel Creek Pub. We're going to have the Nick Wilson Overlook Plaza with the new Ava Roastery. There's going to be a little plaza, but those are all just tiny little ones. This is going to be the big spot. It's over an acre in size, so it's going to be a pretty good area.
I think it's a couple acres.
Acre or two. And the one thing though, as Councilor Newton said though, with it being the northwest and rainy a lot, we also have to figure out how we can kind of do some kind of a shelter that can be engaged year round, but also doesn't take away from vehicles being able to go in and out to do a farmer's market or set up a stage.
Have some open area that we can change out what we're using the site for. And again, I just went on and looked at the schedule. 2021 is, 2020 online and on-site activation. 2021 we're going to be launching the design, and 2022 is build out and construction. So again, there's a lot of information, and you can check out the video. I just looked at it, and it's right here, and you can look at it. Camera One live feed. So start.
Oh yeah, you can see some lights on
Yeah,
there,
you
so
can see the lights.
you can see a little bit of the twinkle lights.
Yeah. Anyway,
But please definitely give the feedback. That's one of the big things we pride ourselves on in the city is we always really want to get as much feedback, as much communication, but we're limited by our reach. So please do share the link. So if you find that link on there on feedback for the Universal Plaza, please email it to your friends, share it on social media, because we can only get it out as much.
modify it a little bit, so if you have thoughts about how you might want to see us engage you in this monthly session you have with two of your city councilors, please let us hear from you on that as well. If you're interested in more topical presentations for part of this evening, we'd like to know what those would be, and if you like this sort of more free form that we're doing now, we'd be interested in hearing about that. We all love to engage with the community, and it's really frustrating for us that we're doing this virtually wearing masks. We'd love to be out meeting with you in person, but until we get this COVID under control, we're going to be do the best we can with this.
I think you answered the second part, but there's a question about when can we see you all next and when are the next council meetings?
Yeah.
I think you just answered
The
that
next
part.
council meeting is January 5th, and when can you see us all next? We might have another spark in January. We're looking at discussing if we're going to reformat it, so stay tuned. Probably after the 5th of January, we'll post the dates that are coming up. But if you have thoughts on ways you'd like to engage with us, we'd love to hear about that too. So.
Yeah, and also on the city website, each of our councilors, there's our individual emails, and if you ever want to just talk to one of us or anything like that, or talk to one or two of us and have an issue, you can always reach out to us. It doesn't have to always be once a month with this alternating schedule. Anytime, reach out to us as a council or individual. We'd love to talk to you, and hopefully, in the new year, when things start getting back to normal, we can start doing more in-person events, have these out in the community.
Go back to barbecues,
yeah,
picnics. And the other thing before we close this evening, I want to remind you all that we do want to hear from you the questions that you might have for our city manager interview that the mayor's going to be conducting on January 30th. We want to hear from you by the 23rd, and I'm assuming that's end of business, Mr. Wyatt?
Yes,
ideally.
correct.
So 6 o'clock on the 23rd, ideally, that would be great. And so, I don't know, do you have any final thoughts?
No, yeah, reiterate that point of what Councilor Newton said with the city manager. Please share that with everyone, because the city manager is a really important position for the city. I mean, that's where everything starts and stops and ends. So, us getting the proper candidate and proper person in there really makes a difference of how engaged our city will be, how well our city functions. As Councilor Newton said, it's everything from outreach to the budget, to overseeing hiring and firing of staff members. So we get the right person in there, we'll continue to have a great city.
Yeah, and we've been lucky in Tigard. We've had our city managers have had pretty long tenures, and so we've been fortunate in that regard. And we want to make sure we get the right fit for our community. So we do want to hear from you about your thoughts. So. And
from the 3 candidates we had, that was a nationwide search. So we did have a firm that did do a nationwide search, so we did end up looking all around the nation, had dozens and dozens of applicants that we kind of whittled away down and ended up with the final 3 that we announced. So we're excited. So in closing, I want to wish you Happy New Year. Looking forward to 2021.
Gonna be a good year.
Gonna be a good year, right? So anyway, thanks for taking the time this evening to join us. And stay healthy, stay safe.
Yes. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Everyone, stay safe and support your local businesses.